This billionaire pretended to be sick just to see his family's reaction. But what happened next shocked everyone. The first time Chief Bamidele faked a cough, it wasn't out of boredom. It was a test to see who would care. He sat at the head of his marble dining table that rainy Wednesday morning, surrounded by the people he had given everything to: his family, his wife Felicia, his son Cola, his daughter Adora. He coughed softly. No one looked up. So he coughed louder, clutched his chest, tilted his head back slightly, like someone dizzy. Then, in a weak voice, whispered, "I don't feel so good." Still nothing. Felicia scrolled on her iPad, her face lit by the screen glow. Cola, 28, was on a call laughing about Dubai plans. Adora barely even noticed. She was busy scrolling her phone like usual. Chief Bamidele, once feared and respected by powerful men across the country, now sat invisible in his own home. But one person did notice. Her name was Mary, the maid. A black African woman in her early 30s, with neat cornrows, a plain uniform, and soft eyes that always looked tired but never cold. She rushed over, concern all over her face. "Sir, are you okay? Should I get your pills? Call the doctor?" He waved her off gently. "Just a little tired. Thank you, Mary." But she didn't walk away. She stood there, watching him, studying his face. She returned a moment later with warm water and placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "If you feel anything strange, don't ignore it. Some things start small." Those words hit deeper than she knew. That evening, while everyone disappeared into their rooms with Netflix and phone calls, Chief Bamidele sat alone in the living room. He stared at the family portrait on the wall, smiling faces from a time that felt fake now, and he made a decision. He would pretend to be seriously ill, not to gain pity, but to see the truth. The next morning, he picked up his phone and called an old friend, the family doctor. His voice was calm, but his words were cold. "I need you to help me fake a diagnosis. Something serious. Something that will show me who really cares." The doctor went silent, then replied, "Are you sure, Chief?" Chief Bamidele stared at the empty doorway, the silence of a house full of people who had forgotten him. "I've never been more sure." The family doctor arrived later that week, an old friend of Chief Bamidele's, Dr. Yusuf, well-dressed, serious, and respected. He played his part perfectly. The family was seated in the living room, Felicia on her usual velvet couch, legs crossed, Cola tapping on his phone, Adora chewing gum, unimpressed. Dr. Yusuf cleared his throat. "We've run several tests, and I'm afraid the chief's condition is serious. He's showing signs of stage 3 heart failure." Felicia blinked once. Cola stopped tapping for 2 seconds. Adora raised her brows slightly. Dr. Yusuf continued, "He'll need round-the-clock care. No stress, a calm, loving environment. He shouldn't be left alone for long." The silence was awkward. Cola was the first to speak. "So how long does he have?" Adora muttered, "Will this affect the will?" Felicia simply sighed. "You should hire a nurse," she said. "I have too many appointments this week to be dragging myself around." The chief sat still, pretending to be weak, but inside, he was shattered. Later that night, while everyone returned to their rooms as if nothing happened, Mary knocked softly and entered his bedroom with a small tray. "Sir, I made you something warm. Ginger and herbs. Helps the chest." He took the bowl, surprised. "You did this yourself?" She smiled gently. "Yes, sir." He nodded slowly. "You're the only one who said anything kind to me all day." Mary hesitated. "They love you, sir. They're just used to things being okay." He looked away. "No, Mary. They love what I've given them, not me." The next day, Adora brought 2 of her friends over. They lounged by the pool, sipping juice and laughing, So your dad's dying? One girl asked. Adora shrugged. He's rich. Either way, I win. Inside, Cola entered the chief's room. Not with concern, but with papers. Dad, about the shares in the oil company, I think it makes sense to hand them over now. Just in case anything happens. The chief said nothing, just stared. That evening, Felicia told the staff to move him into the guest room. His condition makes me anxious, she said. And he snores. They moved him. Quietly, like a piece of furniture. Only Mary stayed. She sat by his bed, cleaned his new room. She even sang softly while folding his clothes. One night, he saw her standing by the gate, wiping her eyes. He stepped out slowly. Mary, why are you crying? She looked startled. Sorry, sir. I just can't understand how people can live with a man like you and not see the treasure they're about to lose. He froze. Her words hit harder than the fake diagnosis. That night, Chief Bamidele walked into his study. He opened a locked drawer, pulled out a folder labeled Last Will and Testament. He stared at the names listed inside. He began to remove them, one by one. Then he picked up a pen and added just one. Mary. That night, Chief Bamidele couldn't sleep. The folder with his will sat on the desk, Mary's name freshly written where his children's used to be. For years, he had believed wealth held his family together. Now, he realized it had only made them lazy and blind. The next morning, Mary entered the guest room carrying his breakfast tray. Sir, you're up early, she said softly, setting the tray down. He smiled faintly. Old men don't need much sleep. She poured his tea. He noticed the small burn mark on her hand. What happened there? Oh, hot water spilled yesterday, she said casually. It's fine. He frowned. And you still came to work? Most people would have taken the day off. She chuckled. If I stop, who will take care of you? Those words stayed with him all day. By afternoon, Cola barged into the guest room without knocking. Dad, I spoke with the lawyer. If you transfer the shares now, the tax will be less. It's just smart business. Chief said nothing. 10 minutes later, Adora appeared at the door with shopping bags. Mum says we're going to Abuja tomorrow for the gala. Do you need anything before we go? No, he replied simply. She left without another word. That evening, Felicia sat at the dining table, scrolling her phone. She didn't notice Mary mopping quietly in the corner. Felicia, Chief said from the doorway, voice weak. Do you remember the first time we met? She glanced up briefly. Of course. Why? He smiled faintly. Just wondering if you still remember why you married me. Felicia gave a small laugh. Well, you were rich, charming, and I was smart enough to say yes. She returned to her phone. Mary froze, mop in hand, but said nothing. That night, as the house slept, Chief Bamidele stood at his bedroom window, looking out toward the staff quarters. Mary's small room light was still on. Curious, he walked over quietly. Through the open door, he saw her at a small desk, writing in a worn notebook. What are you doing awake? He asked. She jumped slightly, then smiled. Budgeting. I send money to my younger brothers for school fees. I just have to make sure there's enough. He looked at her small, humble room and felt something shift inside him. The next day, he called Dr. Yusuf. Doctor, I think it's time we let this play out a little longer, he said. But soon, very soon, the truth will come out. Mary didn't know it yet. Neither did his family. But the game was about to end. The tension in the mansion had reached its peak. For days after the dramatic scene at the dining table, the chief's health seemed to improve, but his silence about his decision kept everyone restless. Felicia, Cola, and Adora barely spoke to Mary, except when giving her orders, sharp, cold, and meant to remind her of her place. One sunny afternoon, the chief called everyone into the grand sitting room. His voice was strong again, his posture upright. There was no hint of weakness in him. Mary entered quietly, dressed in her usual maid's uniform, eyes down, unaware of what was about to happen. The chief began. I have watched my children and my wife these past months. I have also watched Mary. Many of you will not understand what I'm about to say, but it is my decision. Felicia leaned back with her arms crossed. Chief, please, let's not drag this. Quiet! His voice cut through the air, shocking everyone. Mary is no ordinary maid. She has cared for me, respected me, and stood by me more than my own family. When I was sick, she was the only one who stayed by my side through the night. She is loyal, something money cannot buy. Adara scoffed. So what? She's paid to. Enough, a chief's voice thundered. I made my will months ago. Mary's name is already written as the inheritor of my estate. The room went dead silent. Felicia's mouth hung open. Cola's phone slipped from his hand. Mary's eyes widened in shock. Chief, I can't accept. You will, he interrupted gently, because I have also decided to make you my wife. The gasps around the room were almost louder than his words. Felicia shot up from her chair. This is madness. It's my life, the chief replied firmly, and I have decided. You all will work hard for yourselves from now on. No more handouts. If you truly want wealth, you will earn it. Mary will be my partner, and together we will ensure this home is run with respect. Tears welled up in Mary's eyes as the chief reached for her hand. You've given me kindness without expecting anything in return. Now it's my turn to give you the life you deserve. As the stunned family stood frozen, the chief placed a gold ring on Mary's finger. For the first time in years, he smiled, a genuine smile, knowing he had made the right choice. Mary, still trembling, whispered, Thank you, Chief. I promise I will never betray your trust. And so, in that grand sitting room, the new chapter of the mansion began, one built not on greed, but on loyalty and love. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights.